Starting the auction off at $1 for 1 minute, like we always do.
This is one of our favorite covers, and you got it.
A little bit of that, what y'all been looking for, right? A little bit of that, what y'all been looking for, right?
Sammy, next part of the show, we have a conversation with Danielle from Nerdy Girl Comics. Now, what they're about to see is how she was able to acquire 2 copies of Action Comics #1. And I'll let her tell the story and her get into it. However, what we do have in this video that I want the community to pay attention to is the hustle, the grind, the travel. Many individuals are not going to ever own, or may even they may never see this particular comic book in person, maybe at a convention or on eBay or Heritage Auction sale. There are under 50 in existence that are currently on the census, as you'll find out. This right here is a great example of that upper echelon of collector, dealer, next level, and how they acquired their grail. Everyone has different grails. Everyone has different goals. Their grails change over time. So what I would like the community to kind of focus on is the drive, the travel, the plane rides, the dealers, the bidding war, and the aftermath of securing one of the most important comic books in human history.
All right, Danielle, welcome to Comic Books 101. So to everyone that doesn't know this fabulous being, this is Nerdy Girl Comics from Instagram. She is very well known as the owner of all things Grail. Literally all of the grails that just pop up in your head. You close your eyes, you think of your top 5 grails. She has them. So
yeah, thanks for hanging in my office.
Yeah, thanks for being here, girl. She's also my bestie.
Yeah.
We're bringing her on today to talk about her story of acquiring an Action Comics 1. So where does it begin?
I actually had a copy before this copy that helped me end up ultimately owning really probably the best copy I'm ever going to be able to have, because it's just, 1, impossible to find, but 2, it's so expensive. I first had a 1.5 that came out of an original owner collection I picked up a couple years ago. And this copy that I had prior to the one that's ultimately my keeper copy is something that we had been chasing for a decade. Wow. You know how you get those emails from people and they're like, oh, I have an Action Comics 1 that was my grandfather's.
Yeah, I remember that email I got.
And 90% of the time, it's a reprint or it doesn't exist. Well, so every year, once a year, the owner and I would check in with each other and be like, hey, how's it going? Are you ready to sell the book yet? And every year it's no. And then finally he's like, okay, it's time. Booked a flight. And when we got there, the guy is like, yeah, by the way, my brothers wanted a second opinion just so that we made sure we were getting a fair price, and brought in a couple of other big dealers and ultimately created a bidding war. And if you know me, you know I only play to win. So
this is really true.
Right. Winner takes all. It was an Action Comics 1-400 complete run. It was an original owner, but there were a lot of issues that he bought personally off the stand over time. And then he also went back and acquired other copies. And with that, there was also all these Silver Age keys. There were probably 800 books total. And I knew someone who was looking for that Action 1. And so we worked out a deal, sold that one, and a private collector was like, oh, I heard you sold an Action 1. Do you want to buy mine? Mm-hmm. So at the time, I was in San Diego with my daughter for Comic-Con and worked out the timing. I ended up having to fly from San Diego back to Florida to drop my daughter off. Oh, stayed home for 2 hours, changed my suitcase, flew back to the airport, drove back to Tampa, so I could jump a flight to go back to the West Coast, rented a car, drove like an hour in Washington, did the deal, came back, jumped on a flight, came home, and ultimately landed this copy. This way.
Oh my gosh.
Action Comics 1.
So for those of you that don't know, what is Action 1? What is that comic?
Comics 1 is probably the most important comic book ever produced. It's the origin and first appearance of Superman from 1938.
That's insane.
And I think we were just looking up the census. And what did I say? There's like 43 unrestored copies, period, in existence that are graded. Like maybe there's a couple more, but there's less than 50 unrestored copies of Action Comics 1 in existence.
That's a golden age comic.
Oh yeah, for
1938.
Sure. Yeah.
What would you say like Action 1s are valuing at today?
I would not sell mine for $1 million. I would easily say no. And I know that like most people will probably be like, what in the world? But how many more times am I going to have an opportunity to own one? There's a 3.0 coming, like slim to none. It took me forever, one, to land the one I sold to obtain this one. And prior to that, I hadn't had one in years. We'll find out soon because there's a 3.0 coming to auction in the next few weeks. Yeah. So that's exciting.
Wow. Are you going to chase it?
I mean, there's definitely a price that I would pay for it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to share that price in case anyone sees this. Wants to
in
pick
case
me
any
up.
of you newbies out there are about to drop $1 million on a comic book. That's incredible. That's insane. I'm assuming you flew. There's no way you're sticking that book in the mail.
I was not comfortable sending it through the mail. So yeah, it's definitely like you pick that up in person and you keep it on you at all times. You do not let it out of your sight.
You don't.
Sleep with it under the pillow, put it in your carry-on bag, and you keep that bag under your seat because so no one can even touch it.
That's basically like mailing a briefcase of $1 million cash. And
yeah. I mean, it's more than houses. I mean, probably some people, I've shipped like video games for like 6 figures, but I would not be willing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's personal preference.
Yeah. For me, it's like for $1,000 to fly back and forth and know that nothing will happen to this along the way. Okay.
Yeah.
Worth it.
So it took you how long to secure the first one that you ever had that you were chasing?
Ever? Or like this?
From the moment you were like, I want an Action 1 to the moment you had one. Was it over a decade?
No, because I've owned other copies along the way, but I've never been able to keep them. Like it's always been like, it's a sacrifice, right? Because you want to keep your business going and you need to pick and choose your moments. And finally, it's like, I can do it.
What was your reaction? Like, how did it feel?
Oh, it was exhilarating. It was like, you know, like that sound where like the angels all start singing. Yeah. And like the light beams around you. That's what it felt like. It felt magical.
This is insane.
And proud.
Yeah, I bet you were proud. Look at that.
Yeah, the most like iconic and most used image probably in existence. I mean, really.
It's been homaged 100,000 times, right?
Yeah. So.
Origin, first appearance of Superman. First appearance of Lois Lane and Zatara.
Yeah.
But most importantly,
Superman. There you have it.
Thanks for
Action Comics 1.
Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. One day. Goals.
Hashtag goals. Hashtag you can too.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can do it.
Well, 40 of you can. 39, right?
39, because I have one.
An amazing story. Thank you so much, Danielle, for sharing that with us. An amazing collectible, I presume, to see in person. Go follow Nerdy Girl Comics on Instagram and on Whatnot. She joins us at 3 p.m. every single Wednesday.
Yes, absolutely.